Great. Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm still working on my Zoom skills here. Scott Hensley. I currently serve as a 2023 Affiliation Development Committee Chair with Piedmont Properties here in Charlotte. And we've actually been a member of CORFAC now for probably going on 25 years. This is definitely meant to be interactive, open discussion as much as we can. We've got kind of a loose agenda, which I'll kind of touch on here. We'll kind of briefly talk about the Detroit conference coming up in a couple of weeks. Talk about the investment sales platform. We've got 11 properties total that we will let people present on. And then I like to open up just for a general discussion of what people are seeing in their markets, investments, maybe talk a little bit about what people are seeing in financing. And then really at the very end, and again, this is hopefully going to be an hour or less, right at an hour, is open it up and just encourage people. Let's figure out how we might be able to make these sessions more valuable and how to do that. So I will go ahead and let's start talking about the Detroit conference. Here's a slide on that. Again, that's September 27th through 30th in Detroit. I think we've got a total of about 90 pre-registered so far, and that's pretty good for still being a couple weeks out. So we encourage everybody, if you don't have anything going on that weekend, please try to make it. As some incentives, we do have a next gen discount as well as a first attendee discount, and that basically is a free comp of your registration. And if you're interested, or have somebody in your office that's interested, reach out to Diane at headquarters and she can give you the details on that. So, and yeah, hotel block closes September the 4th. So definitely, if you can make it, try to make it. Then, so about, I'm guessing within the last 4 to 6 months, we actually rolled out this CORFAC investment sales platform, and still not many members know about it. It's within the website, and it is intended, if you've got truly an investment property, that you can post it there, whether it's a want or a need, and then that can be broadcast out. So again, you have to take an active role in actually uploading and filling out the information on the website to do that. And again, Diane or Jennifer can help you guys, anybody that wants to do that, but we'd like to see that start being increased usage. And then this is something that actually, Jonathan, I may defer to you or Jennifer as far as how this has worked or is planning on working. Again, I know we've kind of rolled it out.
Jennifer, you want to address that?
Sure. Hi, this is Jennifer with CORFAC headquarters. One of the extended initiatives related to the investment sales platform is to send a quarterly e-blast to members highlighting opportunities that are in our index of our online storehouse of opportunities. So this is just an example here of what we send out, and the idea is to generate interest and activity among members by featuring several of the listings in different categories. So it's just one more way to share these opportunities, and it can be passed along to anyone in your network that may be interested as well.
And I think some of the thought behind this was, I found that CORFAC members in general are very strong in their local markets. And is there a way you can kind of leverage the volume of deals and transactions and brokers that CORFAC offers you to kind of win more business local? So I think some of this was, is there a way maybe you can take some of this branded marketing, and even if it may not be your listing specifically, it's a CORFAC listing. So it kind of gives hopefully the perception that you've got a greater reach beyond just your individual market. So that's kind of the part of what we were thinking about when we started this initiative. But anyway, that if you're not aware of it, please check it out on the website, and again, contact the headquarters if you have any questions on it. Okay. And I think we're into the presentation of the actual 11. Yeah, so the first one here is actually my partner, Christian, here in Charlotte. And Christian, if you're ready, I'll turn it over to you. And generally speaking, the idea here is there'll be a slide for each investment property. Spend a minute or two kind of presenting it. Please, if you want to jump in and have any questions, please do so. Again, this is meant to be interactive. All right, Christian, take it.
And just to add to that, Scott, I mean, this is being recorded and we're going to shoot out all these haves and wants to you guys afterwards. So.
Great.
Great. Can you hear me?
You're good.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. As Scott said, Scott and our partners were sitting across from each other. I know everybody sees the cows behind me. I got those in my office as soon as the Fed hiked the interest rates from 0 to 5.25. So they've been bad luck. I might need to get rid of them. But in any event, that will be my intro. So the property I'm talking about, it's about 1 hour and 15 minutes from Charlotte, 45 minutes from Asheville. It's in Morganton, North Carolina. 242,000 square foot building. There's 2 tenants. When I'm a minority partner in it, when we bought it, American Roller Bearing occupies about 76,000 square feet for 1/3 of the building. They sold to the Timken Corporation, which is a publicly traded $5 billion ball bearing company. The other tenant, Jackson Paper, is a corrugated paper company. Both tenants are in place until 2038. So it's really a long-term net lease deal. Both tenants are well below market. Jackson Papers at, I think, $1.85, and the Timken's at $2.20 a foot. So, it's probably a $4 market. So the ideal buyer is probably a 1031 group in Charlotte. When we started the conference or the conversation here, we've got a robust industrial market. We've seen a lot of money come from California and other 1031 buyers that, seek the Southeast as a safe haven for upside. So we're asking a 5.5 cap. If there was a preference to sell, it's really to recycle some money, and we're more value add investors, so probably bring it closer to Charlotte. So if you guys have any 1031 buyers, it's probably an $8.5 million deal, roughly 5.5 cap, long-term in-place leases, 2.5% rent bumps. No, really the only landlord responsibility is the shell of the building and not even the roof. So it's almost absolute net. The roof's a tenant responsibility. So in a nutshell, that's it. Right along I-40, it's 40 acres. So sizable property, hands off for a 1031 buyer. And, we can be flexible if you guys have any questions, glad to answer them.
Thank you, Christian. Only because I am aware of it. I do believe the roof is relatively new in the last couple of years, and both tenants are manufacturing. So I would say very sticky. It's not just distribution warehousing that they're going to move out over trying to save a nickel or a dime. So reach out to Christian.
Couple things. The one tenant's putting solar panels on the entire roof, and then we've seen it pretty heavily in the Southeast. You're seeing a lot of onshoring, reshoring. So, at the basis, at the sale price we're at, it's $36 a foot. So for a tilt-up building, you can't build them for that. So we have seen a lot of demand come from the supply chain changing and manufacturing. A lot of manufacturing requirements out there. So if for some reason the tenants ever left, which I don't think they would, you've got a cheap basis in a good building. So some upside down the road too.
And Chris, you've not put this on the market, right? This is kind of an off-market deal. You just present it to the group here.
Yeah, it's we've softly marketed it for the right buyer. I think it takes a 1031 buyer when you can get T-bills at 5.5. You're not going to get a lot of 5.5 cap buyers, but somebody's got an exchange and they want to defer some taxes. Then that's probably your buyer.
Awesome. Thank you. Unless you guys have any questions, we'll roll to the next one.
Thank you.
And the next one is, if my screen, there we go. Ed, are you out there?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Ed.
So this is a small office building in Concord, couple blocks from the highway. It's the corner location on a Taubman Simon Mall. We've had it for sale off and on for couple years, less than 200 a foot, and it's one of its unique features is zoned medical. In addition, so we have MedStat on the ground floor next to a pizza use. So it's a corner location on the center. Over time, I think Taubman put some housing on this site. You know, we have an empty Sears and an empty J.C. Penney, like a typical mall. The relevant fact is that it's on a ground lease that expires in 2061. So that becomes an issue with some financing issue, you know, getting financing. We tried to sell to Todman. They took a severe interest, but they ended up not buying it. So it's available. 82% occupied.
Hey, Ed, I'm just curious, knowing that the ground lease is probably gonna cause issues on financing, would the current owner ever carry back any financing, just kind of bridge that issue?
No, yes, and no. They're 84. So what's the rule of thumb? You want to be able to collect the money before you die? But on the other hand, you know, once this lease goes to 32 years, it's no longer a capital lease and you can't trade out of it. So the ground in effect is just a lease. You know, but the lease, by the way, has some favorable terms. It's only $1 a year for the entire ground lease rent. All the rent was prepaid. So in effect, land is already financed. So
Wow.
So you literally only pay $1 a year for the ground. So a play would be to buy this, and then somehow when Tobin and Simon does something with the rest of the mall, and this is still one of the good malls. You know, you're betting on the come that you could do something. So the biggest thing will be price. We started at 4.5. I bet we could go down as low as 3.6.
So I'm missing, but Tallman owns the ground, right? And that's why you're saying you're trying to
Well,
get them
actually, it's even more complicated. It's a sublease of Sears, who leases it from Tobin.
That's a master's degree in real estate to figure that one out, Ed.
And the problem is Sears, you know, is owned by the hedge fund. So Tobin's been trying to buy the various Sears around the country, you know, that they have in their malls, or Simon is, and then but they're not cutting their prices necessarily for a lot of these empty Sears.
Wow. Okay. Any questions? If not, we'll roll. And Ed, I know you've got a few. I don't know if and they may be scattered about. So we'll Matt from Baltimore. Are you out there, Matt?
Yep. Hi, everyone. My name's Matt McNally. I'm a leasing and sales associate at Blue & Obrecht down here in Baltimore/Timonium. The building that we have is part of a 3-building portfolio sale that we have. It's in receivership with Trident Pacific. Greg Williams is the receiver, and he's done a lot of big business over on the West Coast. So it's been great dealing with him. It's 44,622 square feet. 2-story office building in the Baltimore County East submarket. The target sale price, that they don't have an actual asking price, but our target is around $5 million. It is 77% leased. Originally our thought was kind of a user investment sale. There's about 10,000 square feet available on the first floor with direct access. And then with the other tenants, the 2024 net operating income is around $500,000.
I mean, that's like $112 a foot. It seems cheap.
Yeah, roughly.
Is that just a sign of the time of the appetite for office? It just, again, it seems very cheap.
Yeah. Right now, it's just the appetite in the kind of suburban office market in Maryland is soft right now.
Okay. All right.
Is there a market where it's not soft?
True. So right now, we're thinking investors are probably going to be doing like a conversion. It's ML zoning, so it's flexible.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And Matt, I think you're up next with the need.
Yep. So we have a building in Timonium that is currently under contract. And the owner is looking for a 1031 exchange, mainly in the mid-Atlantic area. He's based on the Eastern Shore, but he's looking for around $3 to $6 million comps. His ideal scenario is about 2 buildings for around $3 million. And he kind of wants a hands-off investment. So long-term triple net lease is preferred, and mainly retail to that flex building kind of focus.
Well, if he'll do industrial, call Christian. He's got 5.5 million he can help you spend.
Perfect.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Yep, thank you.
Chloe, good morning.
Good morning from Boston. I'm with the Stubblebine Company. We have a couple investment sales. We're starting to get more into investment sales. So it is newer for us. We have done some in the past, but we're really focusing on creating a subdivision within our company of investment sales. So this is one of the ones we represent. The owner, he owns quite a large portfolio. He's just older, winding down. He owns properties all throughout Massachusetts and then also in New Hampshire as well. We sold another property for him in New Hampshire last year, 130,000 square feet. This property is 156,000 square feet. It's fully leased. There's 2 long-term tenants. If I knew how detailed everyone else was, I would have added more information regarding that. But one of them is leasing out 120,000 square feet roughly. The other one is 30,000 square feet. And both are paying, the tenant that's paying 30,000 square feet is paying market rent, which is $11 in that area. And then the tenant that's leasing out the 120,000 square feet, they just both renewed, is only paying $4.44. So it is below market. So one play could be that you raise the rents over time. And currently the NOI is around $1 million. So it would be around an 8 cap for that property. And the location is located right off 89 and Route 91 in New Hampshire.
Thank you, Chloe. You mentioned seller finance, and I'm curious kind of what are you seeing out there? Has he actually put some terms out there?
Yeah, so he said, he did say that he would offer seller financing. I don't think we have the specifics on that.
Okay. I just say that I know, again, going back to my own experience, Christian here in the office has had some success with that strategy of some, older people that are trying to divest of real estate, don't really want the management, but like the income. So I think it's been attractive to some folks that he's been able to work with to find buyers that, hey, I don't go to a lender in a difficult environment, and the seller wins because he's continued to get that income stream. So that may be something to really push.
Oh yeah, it looks like the seller will provide $8 million first mortgage at 8% interest only for a 5-year term.
Okay. Interesting. Excellent. All right. And next, Blair.
Yeah, thank you. Blair Wood from Weber Wood Mettinger, Cleveland. This opportunity here is an absolute net sale leaseback. MCPC is a local Cleveland cybersecurity and hardware company. They serve outfits like Progressive Insurance, Cleveland Clinic, a lot of hospitals. They supply like the computers that go on the medical carts that they wheel all around, the program them, security. They do this for clients all over the world. This is their end of life facility for their equipment. And so a lot of reprocessing, disassembly, and recycling happens in the facility. It's in a neighborhood in Cleveland. It's not really an industrial area, so it's a little bit odd duck building, so to speak. The company does somewhere in the neighborhood $150 million a year. It's been around a long time. They have operations in Cleveland, Grand Rapids, and I believe Chicago. Be a 20-year term. We've got the rent pegged at $575 a foot, and we really don't have an asking price. We typically in our process, we'll go out with a net operating income and let the market come back to us on cap rate. So creates a little bit more competitive environment. So this is one of the three that I submitted for presentation today.
Blair, I'm curious, have you guys been on the market at all or for very long, and what kind of feedback have you got? And that's some of what I like from the discussion.
On this asset here?
Yes.
Well, we've been in the market. We've got we actually have 2 offers in hand. We would be very interested in seeing some additional offers. But what we've seen, the 2 offers we have are extremely different. So if anyone's got anyone interested in something like this in Ohio, this building, let me rewind a little bit, was an old regional transit authority maintenance garage, and they came in and they cleaned it up. Obviously, you can see the new facade on there. They put a lot of money into it, so it's not really just a typical warehouse building. There's office space in there. There's lab space. So, but it is old, and it's in an odd location. But
Blair,
we have had interest in it.
Yeah, without showing your hand, and I'm not trying to negotiate with you. I'm just trying to understand what the market is. Have the offers been at, a 5 cap, a 10 cap?
No. It's I don't know that term 5 cap around here.
Neither do we.
I don't know what you guys are seeing in cap rates, by the way, but they have gone up dramatically in the last 6 months. This we've got just shy of a 9 cap offer, and we've got another one at lower, closer to 8.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's helpful. Just
in the 8s.
Understand what's out there.
Yep.
Great. Okay. I'll roll to the next one. You may be the next one up too. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a 2 building package, another absolute net long-term sale leaseback, true sale leaseback, Universal Polymer and Rubber. They are a extruder of rubber products. They make gaskets and seals and things of that nature. It's been around a long time. One of the buildings is in Middlefield, which is about a half an hour, probably 45 minutes east of Cleveland. Seems like it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's kind of strategically located near some rubber compounders, kind of close to Akron. There are other buildings in Akron, Ohio, which, as some of you may know, is one time was the rubber capital with Goodyear and some other tire companies there. $4.58 rent across the 2 buildings averaged. We do have offers on this one, so this one is probably going to have a signed letter of intent on it in the next week.
Congrats.
Knock on wood. So this one, if anyone had an interest in it, I'd need to know very quickly.
Okay.
On the cap rate on that, just to kind of, for cap rate guidance, I don't mind sharing with you guys what we're looking at around here. This is again in the high 8s. And it's, at the credit of the company's decent. They do about 40 million in sales, always profitable, very, very little debt. And but this deal a year ago would have definitely had a 7 handle on it, if not a low 7.
Well, I got another follow-up question for you. Now, do you have one more? Or
yeah,
I'll hold my question to your third one. Unless you had anything else on this one, I'll let you roll to the third one.
Okay.
Let's see. I'll ask the question while we roll to the third one.
Yep.
Obviously 2 of these are sale leasebacks. Looks like the third one may be 2.
They're all true sale leasebacks. Yep.
Yeah. I know y'all have always done a lot of this. Have you seen, given the economic times, have you seen an increase in companies discussing sale leaseback, or, any commentary? And again, interactive here. If somebody else would like to chime in and say, hey, yes, we've seen an increase, decrease, please.
I see an increase in interest in talking about it. I mean, this is always an alternative to traditional financing, and I know that traditional bank financing is getting more and more challenging. So my thinking is we're gonna see more companies that are having trouble getting their financing for a variety of reasons. Maybe they've hit their lending limits or what have you. These are sale leasebacks are just a very, very good alternative.
Have you gone and actively tried to, like, we put some thought into, like, do you sit there and try to do some research on to, with notes rolling over, approaching people? Are these just existing clients, or that you've actively gone out there? Is this just because you've had a relationship?
Like this one, for example, I've been working with this guy for about 15 or 20 years, so there's it's a lot of relationship business. As are the other ones are long-term clients as well.
Gotcha.
This particular property in Columbia City, Indiana, it's outside of Fort Wayne, maybe about 20 minutes. Smaller deal. It's rural. They do truck bodies and accessories for dump trucks, work trucks, lands, those kind of vehicles. Again, they'll do a 20-year sale leaseback. The trouble with this one, it's in Columbia City, Indiana, and there's not a lot going on, around there. Fort Wayne is a metropolis compared to Columbia City, but again, good company. It's a smaller credit. It's reflective in the rent's reflective location and the credit and the quality of the buildings, but they will do a long-term lease on it. And it puts it in kind of that value where there's probably more 1031 buyers in that range than, if you throw a 8.5 to a 9 cap on this, you're looking at, $2.5 million or less. So.
Good. I would think, other than maybe location being a detriment, but the increase in activity and interest in IOS, industrial outdoor storage, that sure this product type probably has a lot of interest. It may just be the location. But
it's location's a tough one. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Bill, Blair, thank you for presenting.
Thank you.
Yeah. John from Pittsburgh in West Virginia. Good morning.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
You're good.
All right. Well, this is a depressing call in some ways. Investment sales is a big part about what we've been doing for several years, and it's been tough times. This is a Tractor Supply new extension. It's in the Washington, D.C. Metro area, but in the eastern panhandle of West Virginia. There is some room in that unrealistic cap rate. But like we heard, I think maybe it was on the first presentation, there are still some of these exchange buyers floating around that we have had some activity on it in the mid fives, believe it or not. Just haven't landed it, but I think it is possible to get something like this done at a 5, 9, or 6, even though it really doesn't make sense, well, with where debt is, obviously. But it's a great property. It's a very strong location for a Tractor Supply, next to his Sheets, which is a really premier convenient store, fueling station, regional concept. It's right next to that, near a highway and a casino racetrack. It's a great site. So that's the Tractor Supply. I think we have a couple more to share. This one is interesting. It's a smaller deal, so it's under 2 million, which is that sweet spot for exchange buyers. The problem, again, why I opened up with saying it's kind of it can be a depressing call. There's just a lot of product like this out on the market right now. Adam, who's also on this call and works with me, is working with a couple different buyers, and there's hundreds of everything from Wendy's to Arby's and Starbucks and a few Tim Hortons out there. There is some room in that cap rate. We've had multiple offers at a 7 cap that our seller has not taken, and we're about ready to kick him because we think this trades at a 7 cap today and maybe a 7.5 cap tomorrow. It is a nice operator, 140 unit operator, strong financials is the biggest Tim Hortons operator in the country, but Tim Hortons isn't the most exciting coffee concept. This is drive-through only, pretty small amount of land, 0.42 acres. That's why we think this gets done at a 7 cap in today's environment. But we haven't yet been able to get a deal put together on that. The next one is in Pittsburgh. Great location, not too far from the airport, kind of a flexi industrial play. We've had this out there for a while and under agreement a couple of different times. I decided to still share it. There's room in the price, so that's good. It's a 9 cap. It could be a 10 cap deal. Our affiliate owns this. We kind of control it. There is limited lease term burning off, and we did hear that CVS was maybe going to sell Omnicare. So it maybe didn't even, maybe it shouldn't even be on this call because it might be more of a different kind of play. But I think it is an interesting play. Like it's a value add. You can renew with Omnicare, or you can find a buyer and probably make some money off this. I think it's an interesting play where we have it priced.
John, what does that trade for if it's vacant? Yeah, you're like $103 a foot at a 9 cap. Is it worth more vacant than it is with a tenant, or?
I don't think quite yet. Adam, are you on here? Do you want to weigh in? Just kind of maybe your baby more than mine.
It's there's not a huge delta, but I'd say it's pretty similar.
Okay, very good.
Not gonna lose your shirt,
John. I think we all agree. This 1031 money spends a lot easier than most, but it's also fewer of those dollars out there. Any other? What's the other profile that you've seen, or is that the problem? There is no other profile of a buyer out there right now.
Well, so that's a good question. So we know a few of the big REITs that will chase like the Tractor Supply, and they've been in touch with us on it. It just doesn't make sense. That seller, and that is also actually an affiliate, both the Tractor and the Omnicare, that can be held. So that's why it's still on the market. But some of those REITs would still buy that Tractor a couple of months ago at 6.25. I don't know where they are now, maybe 6.5. But yeah, all these sellers are just waiting for that perfect exchange buyer that probably doesn't exist for most of these properties. Not just ours. I'm saying everyone's. So we think it's tough out there for sellers, and they're just not realistic yet. A lot of them. We're seeing movement. Everyone obviously is, but there's just a lot of product, especially in those like bite-sized QSR deals. It's a lot of product.
I can't remember ever selling anything to a REIT. An investment deal, retail like this. Any commentary on easy deal with any great buyers? Are they also on the sidelines? Are they still spending money? Any kind of commentary on the REIT, on the retail REIT?
From my experience, that some are on the sidelines and some are still looking around. I know that's kind of a vague answer, but I think that's realistic. And they're easy to deal with in that they have money. They can be harder to deal with during the transaction in terms of the terms they demand and things like that.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, John, for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll roll to the next one. There are no other ones. So let me find my own agenda that I had. I guess just some general discussion. We had some of it along the way, I guess, is what are people seeing out there? And I know the presenters have already kind of weighed in. If anybody else out there would like to weigh in, kind of what they're seeing. And one of mine was going to be, again, the 1031 buyer, which we probably have all touched on, that with the development pipeline slowing down, there's probably not as much of that 1031 money out there. But if anybody's got some commentary, I'd love to hear from you on that or anything else, just talking about general investments.
Scott, can I ask you a question?
Yes, Mark, please.
Yeah.
And Mark, if you'll introduce yourself, I think you're out of the Netherlands. Is that right?
Yeah, we're from the Netherlands. My colleague Damien is sitting next to me. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning in the United States. Good afternoon in Europe. My apologies because I sent our template too late, and I had some contact with Jennifer. But I have it now here. I can share my screen if possible, so I can present our property to you. Is that possible?
Yes, Mark. Please do.
Yeah, and to introduce myself further, my name is Mark van Kampen. I'm the manager agency here at FRIS agency here in Amsterdam. We're located in Amsterdam Southeast, and we are the Dutch partner at CORFAC. If I can share my screen, so I can share it with you. Share screen. One moment, please.
And Beth, before I forget, we've talked about it before. After Mark goes, if you want to take a few minutes and talk about you all's fund that you raised, so just I'll put you in the queue. How about that?
That will be perfect.
Yes, go ahead, Mark.
Yes, can I present? Is it all? Can you see my template?
We do.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. So the property is as follows. We have a prime location here in the city center of Amsterdam, capital of the Netherlands, near the canals, based on ground. It's 529 square meter residential investment. Currently vacant. The current owner is a developer investor who bought it at the end of last year and is willing to develop the premises. He's now investigating to top up the building with 1 floor to add some square meters property. The target sale purchase price is 3,795,000 euros. And the cap rate is theoretical because it's of course vacant, but the market rent price is 196 euros a year, which come with a cap rate of 5.31%. We think that's very competitive here in the Dutch market to present it at this cap rate. The opportunities value add because you can add value to the property. What I said mentioned you can probably top up with a 1 floor or rent it to expats. The expat market here in Amsterdam is very growing. It's very high demand, and expats who are willing to pay a lot of money to be here. There's a lot of scarcity here, residential here in the Amsterdam city center. Because of the high building cost, high rent prices, and new regulations, there are less and less rental properties for the market. So this will become more and more scarce, this kind of investment. So you can, last thing I can mention is you have now the right of creating 8 apartments. We have various square meters of apartments. It goes from approximately 35 square meters to the biggest is 93 square meters. But you have the possibility to develop and to organize it differently at your wishes. So,
Mark, what does financing look like in the Netherlands? As far as like, what could an investor look at to get terms over their financing?
In terms of rates, investment
rates, term, length, etc.
Yeah, we see in commercial real estate investments like this. The interest rates are between 5.5 till 6.5 approximately, based on 5 years, and let's say a loan to value of 70%.
And so 5-year term, is that amortized over 20 years in Europe, 25, 15, 5? What's the amortization? I know it's a 5-year call, it sounds like, but
yeah, that's I think 30 years amortization.
30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. That's helpful. Any other questions on that one? Thank you, Mark. Did you have another one, or was that the one you had presented?
Yes, that's the one we want to present. Of course, we have different, but this is the how do you say, the most competitive, I think,
Yeah.
for the American investors. So thank you for having us, and thank you for your time.
I see Ed's hand, and then I'm going to Beth.
Yeah, just Mark, are you seeing American investors coming to Holland and vice versa? Are the Dutch still investing in the United States?
It's vice versa what we see. So we have large investors here, like Heinz, and also other big investment firms still investing, Blackstone, for example, who are investing in the Netherlands. So we see still appetite, but of course the investment market here is challenging as well as in the United States because of the global developments in economics.
Great.
So I will answer that question properly.
I think it'd be a great investment to buy because then you could write off your trips to Amsterdam quarterly. I think it's a great idea. That's what you need to sell American on. Great.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Take that with me.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Yes. Beth, I'll give you a couple moments. Introduce yourself and who you're with and what you're working on.
Yes, so my apologies, I didn't know I could submit a slide. This is my first time on this call, so sorry about that. But I'm Beth Fenton, a managing director in our investor relations, and I'm with Bradford. And I have the picture of a property. We'll see if I can screen share it in just a sec. But so we are raising our Opportunity Fund 3, and at the same time that we created this fund, we found a fantastic asset called Bent Tree Green. Bent Tree Green is 150,000 square feet. I'm looking at about $6 million to buy this. Kevin Santalaria and Joe is who I work with, and Kevin puts in $1 million. Our brokers put in quite a few bucks. So we're all really invested in this asset. Faces Bent Tree Country Club. It's right on the North Dallas Tollway. A lot of people are excited about the building. 73% occupied, and working with the bank. Met them yesterday. The local decision makers are really what make it here at this building. We've interviewed the tenants. They've been ignored by the previous manager, and that manager is actually getting out of the office space world, moving to cold storage or something. So there's a lot of opportunity here. We're getting it for under 80 square foot, and we're underwriting at 15. The goal is 20%, and our hold is 2 to 5 years. So I've got the financials on the Bent Tree Green property that I'm more than happy to email anybody. It's really got it broken down, and it's a really good asset. So we're really excited. But with the goal is raising 25 million in this fund. If we get to 7, and we'll close out this fund and start another one. So keep us in mind for the future too. How's that for a quick summary?
No, that's great, Beth. Thank you for sharing, and
Thanks for the opportunity.
yes. That's kind of the balance of what was on the official agenda. We've got about 10 minutes left, and I thought we would just end that. We've been doing these investment calls for a couple of years, and I can actually tell you personally that a couple of years ago, I ended up doing about a $5 million deal with our friends in St. Louis at Bamboo Capital as a result of this call. So I do know it works. I think it works better if you get more and better participation. And that's what I just kind of want to open it up to, that, any ideas that we can do. My idea was, instead of having, I'm fine to host these things. We've had people rotate, is there an opportunity to create kind of a small committee within CORFAC that focuses on this investment? And then as a committee, we can better promote this to the members. And we've got, I think, 700 plus or minus 700 brokers. If you go on the website, there's, thousands and thousands of listings. I can't imagine there's not just 11 investment deals being marketed from CORFAC members. Come on, that's a joke. So again, how can we, grow what we have here? We've got 17 on this call. So again, I open it up. I know Chloe, it sounds like you guys are, starting to focus on this. We'd love to have y'all's participation. Y'all a great firm up there. John, you obviously have a lot of history in this. So again, I'll throw it out there if anybody wants to weigh in. Or not.
I think additional, trying to generate interest through the network on investment sales would be great. I mean, investment sales are of interest to people that dabble in investment, that focus on that every day. So the more exposure they get through our network, I think would be beneficial to all sides.
Right. John, any thoughts on from a well-heeled, experienced investment broker? How can CORFAC again help us all, help you, help every member firm? Anything we can do differently? Or
Are you talking to me, Scott?
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. Yes.
I was like, there might be another John on here with more experience. Yeah, I agree. There must be a lot more investment sales listings in CORFAC. Maybe we need to start combing through it and then corner people at the conferences and say, hey, why aren't you participating on the calls? I know I was taking notes, and we're going to reach out to at least one of you on maybe a possible transaction could come out of it. I think it's all about people feeling like it's a good use of time. So I don't know. Maybe Jonathan could open with a joke or something. No, just kidding, Jonathan. That was my joke. Attempt at a joke. I think the more people that get on, the better it'll be. And if people even just had, if we had 100 people on and they had 20 seconds on a property, that's fine. And just to see what we're all doing and open it for questions and try to do deals within our network.
And I even look at it, you take the Marcus and Millichaps, the Stan Johnsons, who may not be around anyway, that do nothing but focus on it. Again, I think if you sat there and took all of the true investment, look at Blair, he's got 3 great sale leasebacks. If we all pulled ours together, we would have more than even the, some of the bigger, well-known investment brokerages out there nationally. How can we leverage that so everybody benefits from it? So that's where I think there may be an opportunity, aside from getting on together on quarterly calls, is how do we aggregate this information that we can all use it in our own market. Because I do know there are, when you're out there pitching business, use the CORFAC affiliation to show them that you are bigger than just Scott Hensley at Be My Properties in Charlotte. And I've used it and I've won business by doing it. So again, I think that's something we got to get the everyday broker to understand too.
And maybe it's a tab on the website or something like that. I just Googled CORFAC investment sales. It's kind of funny, but Charlie Krashansky was one of the first hits, and I couldn't even get Charlie on the call. He's with us, and he was doing something with his family today, so he didn't jump on. But yeah, I think we need more participation, and I think it'd become more powerful if we did it.
And that's where I think it's one thing for headquarters to send out emails, we get response, but we all know at the end of the day, it probably would be better off, again, if we had a committee of 5 and those 5 reached out to 5 people they know, like before you know it, you've got probably 100, and it just grows from there. Just kind of relying on broadcasting it out, going, hey, please join. Hey, it works, but I think we can do a little bit more. Ed, I think your hand was being raised.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think the forum is great for your property in particular. It's an off-market deal, and we get into those situations commonly where our clients don't want us to broadcast it. They want to do a rifle approach, for a variety of reasons. Either their employees, they don't want their employees to know what they're doing, or what have you. So this kind of a forum is really beneficial to get exposure without sending it to the market. They're putting it on CoStar, putting it on Crexy. So I think I'm going to present what you showed to a client of mine. I think it might be a fit.
Love to do it. Ed?
So I like the idea if we create a committee of 5 to 7 to help corporate get the word out and come up with ideas. So some ideas would be, by the way, with 70 plus companies, if each company just had an additional one sale a year from outside their local office, think of that revenue, just one, that they receive. So, and then another idea would be maybe we ask somebody to, hey, do you have a very interesting sale that was complex? So I'm selling a marina that's closing next week. It took 4 years. A local broker, boat broker, bought the buyer from Denver and St. Louis, Anthem, who's buying the marina. And, you know, like our ownership has cut the price from 5 million to 3.6 over time. But it's a complex sale because it's a marina in California. So that could be a showcase. So we just showcase interesting. Then another idea would be all our proposals brag about using CORFAC, but then we don't use it. So what if we actually maybe had, without necessarily getting a referral, just say, hey, here's some market leaders and other offices we list in our proposal. So that, you know, so the people that participate in the committee could get their name in a proposal from Denver, St. Louis, Walnut Creek, San Francisco, New York, and then they just get free branding and they'd be part of the team that way. And that's why, but you have to be on the committee, or you have to be on this call.
Okay. I love it. I mean, like I said, I think that's what it's probably going to take. And I've never worked at a big, big three or anything, JLL, but I do think some of what works in those is you've got specialty groups within it, right? That's at the end of the day, you kind of narrow it down. And if you had a specialty group of whether it's 5 people or even 20 or 30 in CORFAC that, have that common goal that they spend a lot of their time in the investment sales, why are there not, it shouldn't be once a quarter. It needs to be something greater than this. And I think everybody would benefit from it. So maybe, yeah, and I don't know, Ed, you and I, or anybody else, send me an email if you'd like to participate on a committee that we're talking about. Just send me an email or through headquarters, and we'll get together off of this call and have a little bit more in-depth conversation about what that might look like.
I still volunteer.
I got one. Blair, I'm volunteering you too, by the way. So don't think just because you turned off your video that you're getting out of it.
Hey, Scott. Just being a young guy and new in the industry, an idea that I had was in lieu of Detroit and that kind of convention going on. That'll be my first CORFAC event. But just a thought was maybe with you guys forming a committee, having a kind of open committee meeting regarding the investment kind of side of CORFAC and just kind of more education on that side of things. So us young guys can learn from you guys.
Matt, that's an excellent idea. And again, that's something that can be formal or informal. And unfortunately, I've got family obligation. I will not be in Detroit. I don't know if there's somebody else. Obviously, Jonathan and staff can help coordinate that. And Ed, I don't know if you're going to be there. I'm not trying to pin it on you, but
no, I'm going to a family wedding, unfortunately.
Okay. But yeah, Matt, that's, especially if people will be there in person to get together, and probably some of the better ideas will come out of that. So, Jonathan, any thoughts on anybody that is going that might be able to kind of take the lead from a member perspective?
And I missed what Matt said. I'm sorry.
Oh, Matt was just saying with the upcoming Detroit conference, is there ability to get together in person, kind of what we're talking about, whether it's at this committee or this group, and just start having these conversations about how can this investment platform, specialty group, whatever you want to call it, grow? But again, if people are already in Detroit, doesn't have to be a formal meeting, but is there a way, to carve out some time? And then if so, without me being there, who can we kind of task as, hey, Matt, if you're going to be there, it sounds like you may be the point person. So thank you for volunteering yourself.
I would say a couple things here. So we currently have a business development and transactions committee, which Ed is the chairman of. So I would say that this whole idea could probably fall within that committee to, and not that I'm against forming new committees, but I think Ed's committee probably a good place. Also, Matt, the last thing that we do at the conference is what we like to call our deal-making session. And it's going to start out for about 45 minutes, people talking about different markets and what's going on in their markets. We've got somebody who's going to talk about a national client they have and how they've used CORFAC offices around the country for that national client. But the last part of that, and many of you, I think, on this call participated, is the specialty roundtables. So we'll have a roundtable for industrial, office, retail, and we'll actually have a roundtable for investment as well. So that's probably a good place.
That would be, and Jonathan, I don't know if Ed and I are even talking about like a formal committee, like, hey, this is the investment committee. I'm talking about kind of an ad hoc, just to get like-minded people together and see where it goes. It may not go anywhere, and hopefully it grows and, you know, it gets a lot of traction. But yeah, I don't think I want to do anything too formal. Just let's walk before we run. But yeah, you're right. The specialty breakouts investment would be a great place. And again, Matt, I know you're young, and I don't know if you've been to a conference yet. You're probably, you know, learning on the fly. But man, if you want to take a, you know, a leadership role in that, we're always looking for new leaders. So, you know, please jump on that, and, you know, maybe you do something at the conference. So
Yeah, definitely. I'm here to help.
And I would even add to that, Matt. So we have a next gen committee. And when they hold calls between conferences, but they also have get-togethers at the conferences. And we'll be sending something out to the next gen participants at the conferences or at the conference about what's going to happen. And that usually they might informally get together and have breakfast or lunch. They usually put together a happy hour where they go as a group and get to know each other. So you'll hear more about that.
Look forward to it.
all right, we're at 10 or 12:01 my time. Is there any other, am I missing anything, Jonathan, or does anybody else have any other commentary before we drop off?
Scott, you and I should talk offline.
Glad to, Ed. Yep. Great. Thank you all for participating. Actually, there are actually some really impressive investment deals out there. So hopefully something transacts out of this.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, everybody.